From characters in Super Smash Bros. To heroes in Overwatch. From snipers and FPS titles to vehicles and racing games. Balance is a fundamental aspect of all games, with certain strategies or abilities attempting to rest perfectly on that knife's edge between overpowered and completely unusable. This was the same challenge that CIG faced when designing the brand new RSI Scorpius Antares. Hello folks, Space Tech here, and welcome to a video breaking down the Scorpius Antares and where it might fit beside the other ships in the verse. As you can see from the thumbnail and title, I believe that CIG has made the Antares fit squarely in the unusable category. In fact, I think the only other ships that have been as much of a letdown at their launch have been the Cutlass Steel and the Rock DS. Like the Rock DS, the fundamental issue with this ship lies in the existence of its second seat. With the ship's primary functionality in the hands of the co-pilot, I think this ship struggles to justify its use against simply bringing a combination of a Mantis and a Sentinel or a Cutlass Blue and a Sentinel. If you've been on this channel before, you know that I'm all about the numbers, so let's really compare these ships against one another, ending with how I believe CIG can fix the balance of the Antares. As always, I've created chapters, so feel free to jump around to the sections that interest you the most. Even though I think this ship is deeply flawed, you absolutely cannot take away from the care and attention that CIG has put into its design. Throughout the sleek silhouette, you have access to its different components hidden away behind panels. Speaking of components, the Antares comes with a size 2 shield, 3 size 1 power plants, 2 size 2 coolers, and a size 1 quantum drive. The Antares also comes with 4 size 2 laser repeaters on gimbals, coupled with 16 size 2 missiles. Finally, it comes with an EMP and a QED. Unlike early RSI ships like the Constellation, the Antares has great visibility for its pilot, who has access to the guns and missiles. This seat is accessed through the ladder along the left side of the ship. It also brings us to the co-pilot's seat, also known as the snore floor. In this seat, you have less visibility than the seat in front, but that won't be an issue since you could operate this seat completely blindfolded if necessary. Here, you also have access to the main functionality of the Antares, the QED that can prevent ships within a certain radius from starting a quantum jump, and the EMP that deals distortion damage as well as shutting down enemy ship systems. As for how the quantum dampener on the Antares compares to the ones on the Cutlass Blue and the Mantis, they're actually all the exact same with a range of 2,000 meters. Of course, the Mantis also has the capability to rip ships out of quantum, which sets it apart from these other two ships. When it comes to the other button that the co-pilot can press, the EMP is quite strong compared to the competition. Keep in mind, unleash time has been sped up across the board since 3.17. The charge time on the Antares EMP is 27 seconds, compared to 20 seconds on the Sentinel and the Warlock, and only 12 seconds on the Hawk. With distortion damage, the first 3 ships have 2,750 damage, but only 1,350 for the Hawk. As we can see, the Hawk's EMP does significantly less distortion damage than the other ships, which is why its statistics are superior in other places. The Antares EMP comes with a larger radius than the ones on the other ships. Anyone who has attempted to use an EMP can attest to how valuable that extra radius will be to make sure that you catch your target. The Antares ties the other size 4 EMPs at an unleash time of 1.5 seconds. Finally, the Antares ties the Warlock for a cooldown of 22 seconds, where the Sentinel takes a whole 40 seconds. When it comes to armament, the Antares comes stock with 4 gimbaled size 2 weapons, which I would definitely recommend upgrading to fixed size 3s instead. When comparing its combat performance against the rest of the EMP ships, it is clear that the Antares is a class above both the Warlock and the Hawk. The comparison against the Sentinel is where the Antares begins to trade blows. The Sentinel has slightly better overall DPS and can equip a size 5 weapon as well. The first obvious difference is the fact that the Sentinel has twice the amount of shield HP. This is balanced out by the better maneuverability and speed of the Antares, which is much faster. What this means is that a Sentinel is more likely to be able to stay in the fight longer, taking more sustained damage than the Antares, where the Antares' speed and maneuverability will be key in it actually hitting the target with the EMP. With a max speed of 1303, the Antares is faster than almost every single ship in the game capable of carrying any cargo. This may end up playing a big role in the Antares' ability to keep up and successfully EMP an enemy ship. Compare that to the Sentinel, which is slower than the extremely popular ships like the MSR and the Carrack. Of course, the Antares is also in the running against the QED ships. In combat, the Antares is clearly superior to the Mantis, having greater DPS and durability. It trades blows with the Cutlass Blue quite well, having slightly fewer missiles and much less hull HP, while having better maneuverability overall. I don't think you could definitely pick a winner between the two in this case. This brings us to the fundamental issue with the Scorpius DS. You are not comparing the Antares versus a Sentinel, nor are you comparing it against a Cutlass Blue. With the Antares requirement of a co-pilot, you are now having to compare it against the combined forces of a Sentinel and a Cutlass Blue. If you are actually going to need two people, why on earth would you not bring a Mantis with a Sentinel, or a Cutlass Blue with a Warlock, or any number of these combinations? You get all the same QED and EMP benefits while gaining way higher damage, durability in the fight, and all the combat advantages of having two ships instead of one. All of this ignoring the upside of having ship interiors on ships like the Sentinel, and even potentially gaining an interdiction device with the Mantis. You could argue that there are some people who would not feel comfortable being a pilot, but still want to experience combat or pirating with a friend. The way I look at it is that odds are they would have far more fun being the gunner in a base Scorpius than having the option to press two buttons in the Antares. With how limited the range of the QED and EMP is, they would still need to rely on the pilot to give them the all clear to activate these devices, further limiting the fun and decision making of the co-pilot. You may get a new citizen to enjoy their first flight in the back of the Antares, but this is not an experience that will leave them wanting more. Now I know there were many people who wanted the pilot to be able to control both the EMP and QED like you would in any of the other ships with these components, but I much prefer CIG release the Antares the way they've done it now. To give all of that control to the pilot would definitely be an example of power creep, and I don't think CIG is unaware of that. Something I think CIG can do right away to help the co-pilot have more fun is to give them control of the missiles, and the ability to manage power going to different components of the ship, like shields or weapons. One day, there may be more for the co-pilot to do, such as scanning gameplay, managing master modes, and some amount of engineering gameplay. But like the Sentinel and its E-War suite replacing its EMP, I don't think it's coming anytime soon. A true justification of the co-pilot seat could be a different style of EMP weapon. This weapon would be like a railgun, where it must be aimed precisely at the target ship, then charged up and fired. In exchange for making the EMP more difficult to use, this could greatly extend the range at which EMP weapons could be effective. The skill required to aim and fire this weapon would be too great for most pilots to manage while flying and fighting, and would add so much depth to the co-pilot gameplay. So what do you think about the Scorpius Antares, and do you think my EMP gun idea could work? Please like and or subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Take care, and see you in the next one.